Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. We got water filtration systems, water softeners, and more at betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on TuneIn. We're on the 99.7 WTN app. We're on the FM dial. You can watch the show as well. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Our personal favorite is YouTube. Shout out to everybody that always jumps in the YouTube chat. Go to the YouTube page, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the share button, and share the show with your friends. We appreciate it when you do so. Thank you for doing so, helping us create a larger digital footprint here on WTN, not just for myself, but for all of us, for Mandis, for Benson, for Murphy. We all truly appreciate it. And then, you know, there's positive ripple effects that happen after that. So please continue to hit like, hit subscribe, and all the things. We begin today with the LA riots. You know, it's so funny. Savannah Hernandez, she calls on the show quite often, friend of mine, fantastic investigative reporter. I said to her, hey, are you going to L.A.? Because she's like a sucker for a good riot. She just loves it. So I said, are you going? And she said, this is Sunday. I said, you going? She's like, seems like it's kind of, tapering off. It's kind of chilling out. I texted her last night. I said, you were wrong. I said, Sav, you missed that one. You missed that one completely. The riots are still going on. Donald Trump releasing a statement on Truth Social about 20 minutes ago. And he says, if I didn't send in the troops to Los Angeles the last 3 nights, that once beautiful and great city would be burning to the ground right now. Much like the 25,000 houses burned to the ground in L.A. due to an incompetent governor and mayor. Incidentally, the much more difficult, time-consuming, and stringent federal permitting process is virtually complete on those houses, while the easy and simple city and state permits are disastrously bungled up and way behind schedule. They're a total mess and will be for a long time. People want to rebuild their houses. Call your incompetent governor and mayor. The federal permitting is done. Trump he's been going off. He's got a speech today at Fort Bragg, and I'm not exactly sure what time that's going to be happening, but should happen live during the show. We'll cover it for you here as well. So the riots in LA, man, they keep going. We had another night of looting, and I just have to be honest with you. Some of the looting, I'm like, okay, I get it, and then some of the looting, I'm like, what are you thinking? What do you and just to be fair, like with like, oh, okay, I get it. I mean. Like, I understand what you're stealing and why. And I'll explain. I saw some individuals looting an Apple store. And that's the one where I'm like, why would you loot an Apple store? Everything you're stealing has a GPS tracker built in. Like, you are the dumbest individuals on planet Earth. Let's go loot an Apple store. At what point does the looting drive all of the business out of L.A.? I mean, I think that's a realistic question to ask. After the Waymo cabs were lit on fire, Waymo has officially announced that they're pulling all of their autonomous vehicles from downtown LA. They had 5 of them torched. I believe the price tag on that is about $200,000 each. So at what point are we going to start seeing all of these businesses pulling out of downtown LA, much like we've seen them pull out of Oakland and other places in California because of the crime? I think we're around the corner from that. And then I think we need to have a serious conversation about the Olympics as well. I don't think LA deserves to have the 2026 Olympics. I think that they can't keep water in their fire hydrants. They can't keep illegal aliens from rioting on their streets. I don't think that they should have the Olympics. Eric Doherty, he's been covering this all night on X. Great account to follow, Eric L. Daw. And he posted this video of Bill Malugin. Bill Malugin was breaking down what was happening yesterday afternoon. So this was about 6 o'clock our time, 4 o'clock in L.A., and things were already getting dicey.
Malugin is on the scene in Los Angeles, where he's been for quite some time. Bill, what can you tell us? I see it's getting louder and maybe a little bit more on edge out there.
Yeah, Laura, it is. I can tell you just a short time ago, LAPD declared a citywide tactical alert, meaning all of their officers have to stay on shift that night. They typically do that when they anticipate there could be a night of trouble ahead. I want to step out and give you a live look at what we're seeing right now. This is the other side of that federal jail that we were doing live shots at earlier. The guards you're looking at right now, these are federal CBP officers with federalized California National Guard soldiers. They're trying to hold the line in front of this building where there are hundreds upon hundreds of anti-ICE protesters out here chanting things like, quote, "Free them all, get ICE out of LA, you are traitors," and you can see the crowd goes very, very far back. Now, one of the concerns has been about attacks on law enforcement. I want to show you this video we obtained from over the weekend when
So the chants they're out there, they're in front of the police station, the immigration facility. They're chanting "Free them all," and just so we're clear, some of the individuals that were arrested for things like murder, rape, human trafficking, drug trafficking, forcible penetration with a foreign object, things like that. And these protesters are out there chanting "Free them all, free them all." Nope. We'll let them free, maybe when they're back home. But Bill Melugin, he found a new niche because he was the border reporter for the longest time, and there's no more coverage to be done on the border because of Donald Trump and his policies. So he's focusing on L.A. And I found this interesting. As he's covering the protests, he says that there's this massive group of about 400 to 500 protesters that just sprouted up out of nowhere.
Factors onto it.
Yeah, we've got some action here, Aaron. Apologize. I want to go back to Bill Melugin. He's live there. He and Tommy Chu is his photographer. Bill, what are you seeing? Because we're seeing a lot.
Hey, Trace. Well, this new, random, massive group of protesters just showed up here, hundreds upon hundreds of them. We're walking behind them trying to catch up right now. They've taken over the street. I don't see any LAPD here. They've got like their own vehicle convoy. You'll notice it's all foreign flags. Tommy, if you can just kind of pan off, it's all Mexican flags, Palestinian flags, flags from like El Salvador. It's all foreign. And they have their own little vehicle convoy here. Right now, I don't see a single LAPD officer. Let me turn around and show you how long this convoy goes through downtown LA. You can see all the way in the background, more Mexican flags, more vehicles. I do not know where this group came from. We were chasing an entirely different group earlier with LAPD, and then this one comes out of nowhere. This is even bigger than the initial group we were with when LAPD was pushing them around. So, again, I'm not seeing a single law enforcement officer anywhere. Heads up, watch out for these cars, Tommy.
The scene is insane. Absolutely insane. But he said 400 to 500 protesters popped up out of nowhere. And I wonder at what point are we going to start asking questions about, who's bussing them in? Are these, especially the Antifa members, are they coming from Portland? Are they coming from Seattle? How long have they been in the city? And I think that's an important question to ask. I think Antifa needs to be reined in during all of this. I think that there's definitely two groups at work here. You have maybe three. You have illegal aliens that are very upset. You have locals that are very upset, and then you have the Antifa, which are those professional agitators. And I think that there's a lot of Antifa in there. If you watch the videos, you see those guys in the black bloc gear. They're easy to spot. If you see a loser with an umbrella, that's Antifa, because they use that to stop the projectiles from going at them, and the pepper spray and the tear gas and things of that nature. But one thing I saw last night on Twitter really hammered home to me that it was that a lot of these guys are coming from outside of the city, at least the Antifa agitators. They spray painted a Kobe Bryant mural. They covered it up with graffiti, and I was like, I don't think that's something that somebody in LA would do. I don't see it happening. But it happened. Los Angeles rioters are also using civilian cars for cover. Now, this is how they framed it online and on the local CBS affiliate out there in Los Angeles. But I think it's more nefarious. I don't think it's citizens' cars. I think it's fellow protesters and agitators' cars. If you're watching on Supertalk TV, you'll see the video. But
a woman in a minivan. I don't even know how she got into.
What you're going to see is these cars moving through the street, and you're going to see these rioters hiding behind them and using them as cover to hurl rocks.
But this is really hectic right here. You can see other cars also. I'm kind of hiding behind this sign because, should law enforcement start to use less lethal tools, I don't want to get hit by that, but.
Well, you know what, Laura, that
you can see this has really devolved very quickly. These cars, I don't know what these cars are, yeah.
And that begs the question.
These cars are doing here.
Yeah.
They're very confused, but if you watch the video, what you can see is the cars moving slowly as the rioters hide behind it and hurl rocks at police officers. Very intentional, very confusing to the local libs on CBS affiliates in Los Angeles.
Why are they there? Why is that? street open, actually, when you see all of those people, it would be difficult to navigate around that crowd anyway, even if there wasn't a demonstration. That's, and as you say, hopefully that's what they're doing, is helping this woman get through the streets. And
I love how maybe the rioters are helping this woman get through the streets. No. They were using her car for cover as they hurled rocks at police officers.
Wondering, though, why they haven't blocked off more.
Yeah, giving them access, safe passage.
Yeah. They were using those cars for cover. That was a intentional plan. You're seeing this ratchet up. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But Donald Trump saying in response to all this, if they spit, we hit. This is a statement from the President of the United States concerning the catastrophic Gavin Newsom-inspired riots going on in Los Angeles. The insurrectionists have a tendency to spit in the face of the National Guard men and women and others. These patriots are told to accept this. It's just the way life runs, but not in the Trump administration. If they spit, we will hit, and I promise you, they will be hit harder than they have ever been hit before. Such disrespect will not be tolerated. And for that, I just want to say thank you, President Trump. It's so nice to have a strong leader back in the White House. Joe Biden, could you imagine Joe Biden trying to handle this? I mean, well, for starters, they wouldn't be rioting under Joe Biden because, why bite the hand that feeds you? But here we are. We have a president in the White House who's not backing down from this, and he's going to approach it from a position of strength. And I think it's one of the reasons why we haven't seen the city just completely devolve into chaos. It's been chaotic, make no mistake about it. But I think it would have been a lot worse had Donald Trump not brought in the Guard, not gotten those Marines ready to be deployed, and more. The mayor of L.A., well, she blames everything on Trump. And she says that all the chaos started on Friday. This is Mayor Karen Bass. She's on CNN with Wolf Blitzer, and she said, "Orange man bad."
I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night.
I will just say this: if you let ICE and DHS into your jails, you wouldn't have needed the immigration raids to begin with. You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. Also, it's important to point out that they weren't doing workplace raids, which kicked everything off on Friday. No. Tom Homan talked about this yesterday. He said it was actually a much larger investigation that they had been dealing with, and a couple of the subjects of that investigation were at that Home Depot when they approached them and took them into custody. So this wasn't just a random raid checking for papers. No, this was an investigation into human traffickers. Peter Schweizer put this out, saying Donald Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, revealed that the raids that sparked the violent L.A. riots were not for immigration purposes. Homan explained that the raids that took place in downtown Los Angeles on Friday were part of a criminal investigation into a money laundering scheme and cartel activity. It wasn't an immigration raid. It was to service 3 criminal warrants at locations based on a large criminal conspiracy that ICE is investigating. Tom Homan said that on MSNBC. So again, when Karen Bass says, well, if you weren't doing these raids, it would have never happened. They weren't. They weren't. They were doing an investigation into money laundering and the cartels.
We'll tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest.
Yeah, the Rapid Response Network. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Also, just important to point out, the Trump administration hasn't backed down. They've actually continued doing immigration raids throughout all of these riots. They are sweeping these dangerous criminals, gang members, murderers, rapists off the street, even with the protests and the riots ensuing. They're going to continue going. But Mayor Karen Bass said we have a large network that notifies people where ICE is and what the protests are. Well, they did. But one of those key members of that network has been shut down. There was a Twitter account that went by the name of LA Scanner. And LA Scanner was doing a lot of doxing of ICE and DHS agents. And LA Scanner was posting the location of all of these agents, right? Using police scanners to monitor the activities of ICE around the city and let individuals know what was going on. Well, people got sick of it. They got fed up, and they tried to figure out who was behind this account, and they found the guy. And fun fact, the guy's on parole. Even more fun fact, if you're on parole, you're not allowed to use a police scanner. So that guy started, I don't know, what would you say, crapping bricks? He was crapping bricks. And he deleted his whole Twitter account once he was exposed. I think he's going to get a knock on the door from somebody at the FBI very, very soon. And for that, we thank him. A lot more to cover on the way. Anything you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. Don't forget, we're not just live on your radio. We're live on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and our personal favorite, YouTube. Jump in the chat, join the conversation, hit like, and subscribe. It's 922 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at United Structural Systems. With Father's Day this weekend, I was looking at the script and I was like, ooh, let's find a fun way to make it Father's Day. And like, oh, for the man that created your foundation, help him repair his. And I was like, that's kind of cheesy. USS doesn't need to stand on gimmicks or catchphrases. USS just stands on business. They've been doing that for over 30 years, and they've helped over 30,000 homeowners across Middle Tennessee and Kentucky. And when you have waterproofing issues, when you have foundation issues, it's easy to ignore those problems. You hope they go away, but they won't. Small problems never stay small. The good news is USS will come to your home and they'll create a custom solution for you. And then when they come to your home, they're going to send an expert, not a sales guy. They're going to send a guy worried about the waterproofing and the foundation, not worried about their quota. That's the difference. So whether it's foundation repair or waterproofing, USS is the best choice. They'll stand behind their work with warranties you can trust. If you see the signs, don't wait. Call USS today. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, online at USSTN.com.
Up ahead, he had just finished his stint at the CMA Fest. One country singer's terrible accident and the poor timing of a Tennessee lawmaker's retirement. Those stories coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, the show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. On the way, 9:35, Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith is going to join the show. I got a lot of questions about, how do you mentally prepare for a riot from the police perspective? And after 4 days, what kind of toll does that take on you? So it's going to be a good interview. Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith has a lot of background that she can bring to the table and a lot of expertise. So looking forward to that conversation at 9:35. As we continue, these protests are spreading. It wasn't just Los Angeles last night. We also saw some stuff popping off in San Fran. We saw police last night declare an unlawful assembly in Dallas, Texas. And we're seeing protesters now popping up in Asheville, North Carolina. This protester decided to go on the news and give an interview, and she's wearing a face mask, and she's not the smartest protester out there because while she's trying to hide her identity with the face mask, she decides to spell her name out live on the news. Oh, you want to give me a little audio there? Yeah, I'm not getting any audio out on my side. Nothing.
Maybe we can reenact.
I don't know. I'm assuming it's muffled. But she spelled out her entire name on the news.
Okay.
They're not sending their best. That's all. That's what I was going with. There are lunatics in Florida ready to protest in solidarity, and I think we're going to see this expand out. You heard Dan talking about the No Kings Day, the No Kings protest. One of those is coming to Nashville Bicentennial Mall. That's going to be happening on Saturday around 10 a.m., I believe.
And by the way, they also misspelled the word amphitheater on that.
I heard you say that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Again. They're not setting their best. We'll talk to Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith on the way. Hang out with us and make sure you hit like and subscribe on the YouTube page. We appreciate when you do. 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. An overnight fire and partial collapse at a downtown parking garage. This happened at a structure between the Renaissance Hotel and the public library at 6th and Commerce just before 2 o'clock this morning. Guests at the hotel say they heard loud booms and their hotel filled with smoke before they were evacuated. Well, now the 5th floor of that garage has collapsed onto the 4th, destroying vehicles that are used by the city, according to District Fire Chief Martin Hampton.
Most of the vehicles that were involved were part of the Metro cleanup vehicles that go through downtown, the street sweepers, the ATVs that they use to get around, like during Fan Fair and every other time. That's the majority of what burned up, as far as we know. But there were multiple cars involved, too, because the fire went all the way across the 4th floor.
Thanks to News 2 for that audio. Right now, the parking garage is closed. Folks who have cars inside it are stuck. We'll keep on top of this developing story. Country singer Connor Smith has been identified as the driver that struck and killed a 77-year-old woman who had been walking her dog in Germantown over the weekend. Smith was behind the wheel of a Chevy Silverado when he hit Dorothy Dobbins walking in a crosswalk. Now, Metro Police are saying that Smith did not yield the right of way, but showed no signs of impairment, and he was not charged by police. Tennessee 7th District Congressman and House Homeland Security Committee Chair Mark Green announcing his official retirement. Congressman Green saying that he has an offer in the private sector that he cannot pass up. Congressman Green says that he will leave after the House votes on the reconciliation bill, and there will be a special election to replace him. Stocks are right now above ground, but not by much. The Dow Jones Industrials plus 9 points right now. The Nasdaq is up 63, but the S&P 500 index, that's plus 15. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
9:35 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. If you need a water filtration system or a water softener, betterwater.com. We've been talking a lot about the LA riots, and I'm really excited for my next guest. Her name is Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith. She's the spokesperson for the National Police Association, 29-year veteran of the police department in the suburbs of Chicago. She became a dispatcher at 17. She was an officer 4 years later. She's held positions in patrol, investigations, narcotics, juvenile, hostage negotiation, crime prevention, field training, and more. I don't think I missed anything, Sergeant Smith, but correct me if I'm wrong. You got a heck of a resume.
Oh, thanks. And it's so great to be with you. And I've been up since 3 a.m. my time, following what's been happening, not just in Los Angeles, but around the country with the anti-ICE riots.
Yeah, and this is why I want to have you on. I think you're the perfect person for this because I want to know about the human element. What are these officers actually going through on the ground? What does 4 to 5 days of riots in a major city do to an officer? What kind of toll does that take on them? And what kind of questions should we be asking?
Well, for the locals, especially for the LAPD, understand that they are about 1,200 officers short still. You know, the California Highway Patrol is short. So is the Sheriff's Department, short staffed. This is the aftermath of nearly 5 years of defund the police, of vilifying and demonizing American law enforcement officers. So right now, they're tired, they're a little beleaguered. It's very frustrating when you don't have the support of leadership, but they know they have the support of the American people. Remember, 80% of us voted for this,
yep.
And they know they have the support of the federal government and the President of the United States. So I would say tired, but resolved.
Now, one of the things you mentioned is each of these departments, LAPD, Highway Patrol, the Sheriff's Office, they're all understaffed. Do you think that an event like this helps recruiting numbers in Los Angeles? Does anybody have faith in the leadership in LA and California currently?
Sadly, no. And the police chief in Los Angeles has demonstrated that he's a nice guy, but he's pretty weak when it comes to leadership. That Karen Bass has his mayor has a ring in his nose, and it's unfortunate. But, he let it slip a few times that things are pretty bad. But one of the things I want people to understand, especially if you've never been to Los Angeles, the area where these riots are is not the entire city. Most of the city, it's business as usual. So the riots are in a fairly small part of the city, mostly downtown, but that's branching out. And we're also seeing, sister riots, if you will, in Tampa, in Austin, in Dallas. Here where I live in Tucson, Arizona, there's talk that we're going to have some hashtag resist stuff going on. There was a demonstration in Phoenix yesterday, largely peaceful. But what we're hoping to see is not just the arrests that we've seen in Los Angeles, but we really need to see the prosecutions.
Yep.
That is the important part, is will these people be prosecuted? We don't know yet.
Well, and in a city like L.A., even if they are prosecuted, will they be released in a week or two?
Yeah, absolutely. And, what you're going to see is federal arrests, federal prosecutions, by the Trump administration. And, there's been much talk about the National Guard and the Marines. They're basically, sticking to the federal buildings. They're helping ICE continue their operations. There's nothing illegal about what ICE is doing. And just so everybody knows, ICE is not running into schools and plucking out children and things like that. What they are doing, just like Barack Obama did, is they are arresting and deporting or prosecuting the worst of these criminal illegal aliens. And the Trump administration has upped the ante for people to self-deport. You self-deport right now, you get $1,000, a plane ticket, and all of your fines wiped out. Sounds like a good deal to me, and maybe you can come back someday.
Yeah, sounds like a good deal to me as well. When you zoom out, you mentioned the sister riots, the sister protests. Are there cities that you look at given your background and your experience. We're talking with Sergeant Betsy Brantner-Smith. She's the spokesperson for the National Police Association. But given your background, your experience, are there cities you look at and you go, ooh, I'm nervous about that one? And then, on the counter side, are there cities you look at and go, well, that governor, that sheriff, they'll handle that no issue?
Absolutely. It's a great question. I'm nervous about Chicago. I'm nervous about Austin, Texas. I am not nervous about Tampa, Arizona. I'm not really nervous about New York. What people need to understand is these are well-funded, well-planned. These are not organic protests, everybody. Understand that. What you are seeing now is what we saw in 2020, what we saw in 2014, and these are well-funded, and so there are going to be necessary responses by prepared police departments and prepared state governments. I'm not sure. I know the state of Texas is prepared, but the city of Austin is still run by left-wing lunatics, and the county attorney there in Travis County wants to put cops in jail more than he wants to put bad guys in jail. So those are the cities I worry about. Chicago, especially my home, because in Chicago, the gangs will take advantage of these riots, and you'll see additional crime. You're going to see looting, nobody loots like Chicago. And, we're going to see looting like you've seen over the last two nights in L.A.
Now, in Chicago, and this is going to be like a trip down memory lane, during the Black Lives Matter riots, there were certain neighborhoods that were controlled by Hispanic gangs, Latin Kings in particular, where the rioters would come into those neighborhoods and they said, no, you got to turn around, you got to leave. Do you envision something like that happening again, or because of the nature of these protests involving more of the Hispanic population, that it's not going to be as segregated, it's just going to be more widespread and chaotic?
There's a terrific Chicago alderman. He's a Democrat, but he has been talking a lot about and talking to the Hispanic community and saying, look, if you're here legally, if you have a green card, if you were born here, which is a lot of Hispanics in Chicago, let's not trash our neighborhoods. Let's get out these insurgents that are waving Mexican flags, and understand that Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, who are legal in Chicago, they're not real happy with the Venezuelans and the Chileans. So this is the thing. The Democrats think Hispanic is Hispanic is Hispanic. Nope. And there's no love lost between Mexicans and Mexican Americans. And, for example, criminal illegal gangs like Tren de Aragua. So you're already seeing Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelans, pushed out of Chicago. I think you may see more of that. But we don't need gang warfare any more than we need riots.
That's right. But it does seem like a lot of the police have their hands tied, so these individuals in the streets feel like they have to take matters into their own hands in certain scenarios.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. And people have a right to protect their home. They have a right to protect their neighborhoods. Unfortunately, in a place like Chicago, it's so anti-Second Amendment that people have a difficult time really protecting themselves and their community. So it's really going to be interesting to watch. I think where you're going to see most of the issues in Chicago is down by the Federal Plaza. You're going to see Magnificent Mile. The stores that are left are probably going to get looted again. You can already see so many of the high-end stores in Chicago have completely boarded everything up. That's what's happening in New York as well. People, I'll be honest. I don't think that the retailers and the communities are going to be caught so off guard like they were in 2020. I think they're going to be prepared. And I think the American people aren't going to tolerate this. We see this for what it is.
Yeah.
And I have a lot more faith this time in the American people, because we lived through, everybody, the last 5 years of the aftermath of the George Floyd riots, where thousands of young black men died post-George Floyd because there were less police, there was less enforcement, there was less prosecution. Yep. I don't think people are going to fall for that again.
I hope not. I wonder how long these businesses are going to stay in these cities, though. Or on the flip side, do we see a small business kind of going old school, and paying paying protection money to the mob, essentially, like they used to do back in the day, just to keep their businesses safe. Because it doesn't seem like the leadership in these cities really give a damn about the small businesses or the retail shops. I mean, the looting has been insane. How do these businesses justify staying?
Well, you're right. Look at Koreatown in L.A. It's a perfect example where you have seen people who are getting their sushi shops looted. You know, they're walking out with the cash boxes, things like that. I think you're going to see kind of what we saw in 1992. I think you're going to see Koreatown stand up in L.A. and say enough, because those folks tend to be there legally. They bring business. And they bring things like grocery stores and dry cleaners and restaurants to their communities. I don't think they're going to tolerate it. But they are. They're going to have to help protect themselves because, again, LA is so short-staffed, and Mayor Karen Bass doesn't give a damn about them.
What are the people of what are the people of LA in that city? What kind of recourse do they have against the mayor and the governor right now? Because it doesn't feel like they actually care about the citizens. They're much more concerned about the illegal aliens. Can we remove the mayor? Can we try and recall the governor? What are the people of LA thinking today?
Recall efforts are expensive and laborious. What they're going to have to do is two things. They're going to have to make their views known, which is difficult because then if you're a citizen who speaks up, then you can get doxxed by the protesters, things like that. But they've got to make it known to Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom that they're not going to tolerate this. And then they need to work hard in the next election to say no to those people. Going back to Chicago, there's a great organization called Chicago Flips Red, and these people are tired of what they are seeing in their neighborhoods and in their city. It's all about the ballot box, and, we've always got elections coming.
Yeah, and there's one guy in California a lot of people are looking at thinking he's going to be eyeballing a presidential run. Since the riots started, Gavin Newsom has gained 300,000 followers on Instagram. Does this kind of an event help him or hurt him?
I honestly think it hurts him. Hey, I follow Gavin Newsom on Instagram. Why? Because I want to see his dumbassery on display every single day. So a lot of people follow these politicians on social media just to rip these sound bites and just really see how stupid they are. Look, he's tried with the podcast, right? He wants to be the next Joe Rogan, the guy on the left. His podcast fails. He's failing. He's so over his head. It turns out you can't be pretty and have nice hair and be Nancy Pelosi's nephew and just automatically be successful. His city, his whole state really is a failure, and I think California is ripe for the taking from someone more conservative and more concerned about California.
Do you think that there's hope that we could get a conservative in charge of California, or is that just a pipe dream?
Hey, it's happened before. I wouldn't call Arnold Schwarzenegger a conservative, but he was a Republican. And let's not forget that the vast majority of California is red. It's agriculture. It's small towns. The whole state is not L.A. and San Diego and Sacramento. And in fact, there's a lot of great memes going around on social media where they're saying, let's give the, L.A. and South back to Mexico, which I would like because that would give me a beach here in southern Arizona. But we have to understand who really the voters are. And there's really no Democrat politician right now in the state of California that's making any sense and that seems to be concerned about California. So I think there's a reckoning coming.
But it also seems like there are, conservatives or more conservative, California conservatives who are siding with the leftists in this. Rick Caruso, who was a big hero during the Palisades fire, the guy that ran for mayor, he ripped the administration when it came to the fires, but now he's ripping Trump when it comes to these riots. So even the conservatives in California, they're in a tough spot.
Right. He's believing the propaganda, what they want. And this is what Bass and Newsom are telling people. This wouldn't have happened if Trump wouldn't have come here. Look, people voted for these mass deportations, and we're doing mass deportations like Barack Obama did because of the last 4 years of the unfettered open border situation in this country. Trump didn't cause this. Joe Biden and the Democrats caused this, and especially in California, where Gavin Newsom threw open the borders, threw Medi-Cal at this people on our dime, and invited everyone to come in, and now you have people who don't want to assimilate.
Yep.
They have their hands out, and they just want to continue to ruin California one city at a time.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're talking with Sergeant Betsy Brandner-Smith. She's the spokesperson for the National Police Association. You mentioned a couple minutes ago that we're going to see this start, spanning out. How can we support the police, from miles away? How can we support the police officers that are out there doing this hard job?
I'll tell you what, everybody, get on social media, tell ICE that you support them, buy a I Support ICE t-shirt, and go to nationalpolice.org, nationalpolice.org. Take a look at all the things that we are doing to help support ICE, including pro-ICE legislation. And we're a charity, so if you can, hit that donate button and help us out, because we stand with our federal, state, and local cops.
Hey, we support you, Sergeant Betsy Brandner-Smith, and I appreciate you taking some time to give us your perspective on what's happening in L.A. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's 9:51. This is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and you guys know this. They tried 34 times to stop the president, but they failed, and we got the big 47. The American people and the 47th president were rolling strong this month, and the Wellness Institute of Nashville's got the $34 presidential special to get you rolling as well. Just $34 will land you your first consultation, x-rays if they're needed, and your first treatment. Trump never quit on us, so Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, they're not going to quit on you. They're fighting your back and knee pain with non-surgical spinal decompression. It is time to say goodbye to neck pain, sciatica, tingling limbs, sleepless nights, bulging discs, and spinal stenosis. It's time to get back to what you love, living pain-free. No pills, no surgery, just cutting-edge technology in a futuristic facility. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley are your pain-fighting experts. Give them a call today and get back to a pain-free life. 615-246-5009. Ask them about the $34 presidential special. 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com.
Off limits. That's how officials describe a parking garage that erupted in flames overnight. Also, maybe LA needs what one Sumner County commissioner wants, a little more Jesus in government. That's coming up here at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I love the idea of more Jesus personally. I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. Hey,
Yeah.
shout out to Sergeant Betsy Brantner-Smith for joining the show moments ago. A lot of people texting, asking, where can I find her online? It's SGT Betsy Smith on X, at SGT Betsy Smith. Democrats are tripping over themselves to defend the illegal aliens in Los Angeles. Tom Homan wanted to remind everybody who they swept up in those raids.
And ICE took a lot of bad people off the street that day. We arrested a sexual predator, arrested gang members, arrested somebody that had an armed robbery conviction. So we made LA safer. The men and women at ICE, the men and women of the Border Patrol made LA safer that day.
Yeah, they did. They sure did. It's gotten chaotic since then. We've seen cars on fire. We've seen police officers being blasted with rocks and more. And you know what Maxine Waters wants you to do? She wants you to not believe your lying eyes. Maxine Waters actually found herself a podium to stand behind and say that there was no violent protesting in Los Angeles. Oh, really? That's weird. I have a bunch of video that proves otherwise. I'll bring you those comments from Maxine when we get back. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones now with your top stories. Rioting on the streets of L.A. continued overnight. Police reporting that looters targeted the city's jewelry district, destroying storefronts and hauling away the contents of entire stores. President Trump, meantime, sent 700 Marines to the city after ordering more than 2,000 more California National Guard troops to the scene. ABC News' Matt Gutman on the baseless claims made by the city's mayor.
Embattled L.A. Mayor Karen Bass warning that Trump might be using L.A. as a trial run for other cities.
A test case for what happens when the federal government moves in and takes the authority away from the state or away from local government. I don't think that our city should be used for an experiment. Well, maybe we can do this to other cities.
Earlier in the day, the president suggesting that Newsom should be happy he sent in the military, that Southern California was a, quote, mess.
In other news, we are learning that one person is still hospitalized in critical condition after Sunday's skydiving plane crash in Tullahoma. In all, 3 people were flown to Nashville for treatment after that plane went down just after takeoff. The National Transportation Safety Board will take that plane and all of the debris to a facility in Springfield for their investigation into the cause. A spokesperson said that they will focus on 3 key areas: the pilot, the aircraft, and the operating environment. Structural engineers have confirmed that the top floors of a downtown parking garage are now unsafe, trapping an unknown number of vehicles inside after an early morning fire. That garage was linked by a sky bridge to the Renaissance Hotel, where guests were hustled out of their beds and evacuated in the early morning hours.
And the whole building was filled with smoke. As soon as you walked out of your room, it just filled with smoke. So everyone had to come out here, and just a lot of smoke, explosions from the building.
Yeah, the guests were allowed back into the hotel, but the city-owned street cleaning equipment inside the parking garage may have been destroyed. In Sumner County, commissioners will be voting soon on a resolution asking for the Holy Spirit to move within the halls of government. Commissioner Jeremy Mansfield says his resolution echoes that of Governor Bill Lee, which designates July as the annual month of prayer and fasting and repentance. Mansfield spoke to News 2.
That recognition of our sins and shortcomings and asking God's forgiveness and asking God and Jesus to remove corruption, criminal violence, addiction from our state and restore marriages, strengthen families.
The Sumner County Commission is expected to review and likely pass that resolution of acknowledgement on June 30th. That's the latest news. We've got weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Do me a solid. Find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram, and hit the follow button. All of them the same, at Chris Hand on Air. That's at Chris Hand on Air. Tom Homan reminding everybody about how they made the streets of L.A. definitely safer with those raids that, well, threw the city into a bit of chaos.
And ICE took a lot of bad people off the street that day. We arrested a sexual predator, arrested gang members, arrested somebody that had an armed robbery conviction. So we made LA safer. The men and women at ICE, the men and women at the Border Patrol made LA safer that day. But you're not hearing any of this. All you hear is a rhetoric about ICE being racist, about ICE being Nazis and terrorists. And Governor Newsom feeds that. Yep. Just like Hakeem Jeffrey feeds it, that he's going to unmask ICE agents. And the members of Congress who keep feeding this rhetoric, they're the ones that are causing this riot.
Yep.
Because they don't listen to the truth about what the men and women at ICE are doing. We're keeping our promise to American people to make these streets safe again. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're not going to stop doing it.
I love that he brought up Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries was he was being and moaning about the masks again that ICE agents are wearing. He had nothing to say about the masks that Antifa agitators are wearing, or that the paid agitators are wearing. Nothing about that. But he found a podium and he was complaining about the masks again. This is Hakeem Jeffries, or as we affectionately refer to him on the show as Buck Obama.
As opposed to allowing the Trump administration to try to distract the American people by unleashing masked agents, if they were proud of what they are doing, why are they masked? This isn't the 1930s. Why are they masked?
Why are they masked? If they were proud of what they're doing, why are they wearing masks? I mean, turn that question around on the same Democrat agitators that are in the crowd throwing rocks at police and lighting police cars and Waymo cabs on fire. Please, I'll wait for you to apply that same logic to the side that's actually causing chaos and violence. But, he never does that. They never do. Maxine Waters, though, she says, actually, believe it or not, there was no violence in L.A.
Protests, and even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
So there was no violence. Get it straight. Don't rely on what you've been told, and don't rely on what you saw. She literally did the don't believe your lying eyes. Also, there's so many videos coming out of Los Angeles, so many, of far-left agitators, rioters throwing rocks at police. I played a video on the stream yesterday where you can watch an LAPD officer in riot gear get his helmet knocked clean off of his head by a piece of concrete. And by the grace of God, he had the helmet on, because if he didn't, I don't know what would have happened to him. I think we'd be having a bit of a different conversation. I mean, the rock was hurled from an overpass. Like, could have seriously injured that guy, if not killed him. There was no violence, she says. No violence, no violence. Waymo is pulling out of downtown Los Angeles just on a whim, right? Has nothing to do with the 5 Waymo cars that were torched by these agitators. Nothing to do with that. No, there was no violence. There was no violence. And when protesters are breaking into stores and stealing everything, like they did it to an Apple store, which, again, the dumbest protesters you could ever find, and rioters and looters. Let's steal something with a GPS tracker. They do that. They just grabbing iPads, grabbing iPhones. No violence. No violence. No violence, says Maxine Waters. Get it through your stupid head.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head.
Get it in your head. There's no violence in L.A. No violence. Okay, is that in your head now? You got it? Perfect. Yeah, they're deploying Marines and National Guard for absolutely no reason. All the arrests for the looting and the rioting and the arson, it's a figment of your imagination. So just put that away. Clearly, it's not happening. And at the same time, all of these Democrats want you to know that things will calm down and the violence will stop once ICE leaves. So there's no violence, and then the violence will stop when ICE leaves. Are you ready for that? Like, that's what they're saying. Tom Homan responded to those calls for ICE to back out, and he said, well, no.
Well, ICE ain't leaving. Well, as a matter of fact, we got over 100 teams out today enforcing immigration law, and we're going to flood the zone. I've said for a month, sanctuary cities, you don't want us to arrest these bad guys that you just listed out. We could arrest them in the safety and security of a county jail, but they won't let us into jail. They release them into the community, which means we got to send a whole bunch of teams in the community to find this dangerous person that don't want to be found. So sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want: more officers in the communities.
Yep.
And more officers in worksite. We can't arrest them in jail or arrest them in the community. If we can't arrest them in the community, we're going to increase worksite enforcement operations.
Simple as.
We're going to flood the zone. And based on what LA is doing right now, we're going to continue to flood the zones. We're going to be there tonight. We're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be there every day in the next 4 years, arresting public safety threat illegal aliens. We're not going to apologize for doing it. So we're not going anywhere, Jesse. We're going to do the job the American people voted Donald Trump in office for. We're going to make America safe again, one illegal alien criminal at a time. And this is another reason we need the big, beautiful bill passed so we can hire more ICE agents, get more technology, and help us find these people. Look, we got over 20 million illegal aliens in this country. We got less than 5,000 deportation officers. We're outnumbered. You want more criminals taken off the street? You want more efficient operations? Then they need to pass this bill and fund ICE and fund the Border Patrol to keep President Trump's promise to the American people.
I think they need to highlight that number a bit more. We have 20 million illegal aliens, 5,000 deportation agents. Let me say it again. 20 million illegal aliens, 5,000 deportation agents. Yeah. Let's pass the bill. We have a real issue in this country when it comes to the migration. Donald Trump was asked about it, and he was asked about Gavin Newsom. This was yesterday. He had a round table. They announced what did they announce? The savings account for the kids. So if your kid is born between now and 2029, they'll get $1,000 savings account that's like in the stock market or something like that. I didn't, to be perfectly honest with you, I was like, that's bottom of the stack compared to all the other stuff going on. So I haven't dove into it too well. But he was doing this round table. And during the round table, obviously Donald Trump takes questions from the press because he's not afraid of questions from the press like Biden and his handlers were. And they asked him about Governor Newsom. And Donald Trump didn't hold back.
Isn't he a competent governor? Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening, and they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday, who's a good man, by the way, and he said, well, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed. You saw what was happening.
Now, the L.A. police chief that he's talking about, Chief McDonald, he's between a rock and a hard place. You can tell, and just from the press conferences, that this guy wants to go, balls to the wall and just clean up those streets. But you can also tell that because of the political leadership in the city, he's walking a tightrope. Like, I mentioned this yesterday, and I'll mention it again, but Chief McDonald, he goes down the line describing Antifa and then labels them as anarchists, but never says the word Antifa. And I think that's important to highlight because that's the political climate in L.A. Antifa is just an idea as they're getting bussed in from Portland and Seattle, and they're causing a lot of this chaos. The police chief understands what time it is. The citizens know what time it is, and Trump does too.
So we did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down, didn't want water to be sent down to him. I sent billions of gallons of water. I wanted to do it in the first term. He wouldn't do it over, I don't know, they have environmental reasons, but there were no environmental reasons. I think it's just a political philosophy. But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much. Yeah.
Now they go on to ask him, and Democrats have been using this talking point for a while, that since this stuff kicked off, that Donald Trump wants to start a civil war. Oh, it's terrifying. Donald Trump. Now that Donald Trump's in power, right, and he has the Congress, and he has the Senate, and depending on what kind of mood Amy Coney Barrett's in, he has the Supreme Court. Now Trump wants to start a civil war, not back on January 6, 2020. No, that wasn't. Or 2021. That wasn't. He didn't want to start a civil war then. This is Trump wanting to start a civil war. And I think it was Peter Doocy asked him about it during this roundtable event. They said, Gavin Newsom says that you want to start a civil war. A lot of Democrats say you want to start a civil war. President Trump, your thoughts?
What do you make of the fact that he says you want a civil war on the streets of America?
No, it's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. A civil war would happen if you left it to people like him. And I liked him. I always got along with him. Never had a problem with him. But he's grossly incompetent.
I think that's putting it nicely. Earlier in the day, while Donald Trump was walking around the White House lawn, I think he was going to Marine Force or Marine One or coming back from Marine One. I don't know, which way he was headed or going. But they saw Donald Trump, and of course, Trump answers questions, right? So people start shouting questions at the president. And one of the questions led to Donald Trump saying that Gavin Newsom should be arrested. And I would like nothing more. I would like nothing more than to watch Gavin Newsom get arrested by Tom Homan. But that's what Donald Trump said on the White House lawn. This was earlier yesterday, about right as we were getting off the air yesterday. Donald Trump had this to say on the White House lawn.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great.
He said, Gavin Newsom is daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Would you do it if you were Tom Homan? And he said, I would do it. I think it would be great. Yeah, I do too. Oh, could you imagine? The leftist meltdown, the cope and the seethe, the salt that we could mine if Gavin Newsom was arrested? Oh, my body's ready. My body is ready.
Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under budget.
I just love the way he closes. He's incompetent. Look at the little railroad he's building. It's behind schedule and it's over budget. I'm building a flagpole over there. You want to know what's cool about the flagpole? Under budget. Everything I do is under budget.
A great guy.
Great guy.
Remember? Great guy.
Great guy,
but he sucks.
Wish him the best. Completely incompetent. Have no idea how he rose to the level of governor. I wouldn't have voted for him personally. Great guy.
He always has to add that little I'm a good person. He's a good guy,
yeah.
but he's the worst at what he does.
So they go back and forth. They're doing that. He says, "Yeah, should Tom Homan arrest him?" He says, I think it would be great. But in his comments, Donald Trump labeled the rioters insurrectionists. And oh boy, did that send Dana Bash over at CNN into a tailspin. She's very upset that he used the word insurrectionist because obviously this is a peaceful protest. Obviously. I'm going to bring you Dana Bash melting down over Donald Trump's choice of word insurrectionist when we get back. Hang out with us. A lot more to cover. It's 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Glock store, and I got some deals that are so hot it's going to make your trigger finger tingle. Listen, I'm no gun guru, and I'm not going to pretend to be, But I know Glocks are the gold standard and top-notch quality without breaking the bank. That's what you can count on with a Glock every single time. I mean, could you grab a cheaper handgun? Sure. But why settle when you can't beat a Glock for the price? Normally, these beautiful handguns run about $600. And yeah, I mean, that's some serious cash. But hold up. Glock Store is now slinging factory rebuilt Glocks. Yeah. Listen, you do it with electronics all the time. You get it factory refurbished. It's basically brand new, and you're like, good to go. Now they're doing that at the Glock Store. We're talking about Glocks that might have been a display model with a tiny scratch or a brand new one with a bit of a blemish. We like to call them beauty marks in the industry, but you get what I'm saying. They go back to the factory. They get a full makeover, and then they come out perfect with the same full factory warranty. And the best part is, on those factory refurbished, rebuilt Glocks, the Glock Store is going to give you $100 off. Yeah. So that $100 you can then take and, buy whatever you want. Ammo, accessories, or maybe even a victory burger. Swing by the Glock Store just minutes from the airport or hit up glockstore.com and search factory rebuilt. If it looks the same, shoots the same, feels the same, why pay more? Get to the Glock Store now. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
It's not a total loss so far, but structural engineers have determined that the upper floors of a downtown garage are unsafe. And an asteroid that's been worrying scientists has apparently shifted its focus. That and more coming up here at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know what the big asteroids that are hurtling towards Earth always have in common? You know what they have in common?
Nothing happens.
Yeah, they miss. They miss.
I like we were thinking the same thing.
It just gives more ammo to the Space is Fake crowd every day.
I mean, Armageddon got our hopes up. Let's be real.
I mean, yeah, it's not real life.
Yeah. Great movie, though.
Was it?
Armageddon?
I don't think it was.
You didn't like Armageddon? Really?
No, I feel like it was like a trash time period for movies.
The 90s?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a movie in the 90s
I mean, but let's be honest. Like, Armageddon was good because the competition that it had up against it were movies like Batman and Robin with George Clooney.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Was it good? Relatively, sure.
I had it on VHS as a kid, so I grew fond of it. But it wasn't because,
did you?
The one movie I liked the best was the Batman one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Batman Forever.
Batman Forever.
That one was good.
That was based.
Val Kilmer is also very good.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, Tommy Lee Jones was unhinged.
He was awesome.
But they worked him and Jim Carrey worked so well together.
Have you heard that Tommy Lee Jones is actually like a total jerk, like all the time?
I unfortunately have heard that rumor.
Stuff ruins it for me.
Hey, don't meet your idol. Don't meet your favorite actors.
I hear somebody's a jerk, or they voted for Biden or Kamala, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, what was it? Didn't it happen recently where De Niro went and said F Trump again on stage and expecting like people to like fall like, oh, it's so what a brave person. It's just like
little guy.
Yeah, like it sucks because he's been in great movies.
Yeah, I don't watch him anymore.
I can't. You can't look past it.
They're all garbage.
Yeah.
Even The Godfather.
Well,
he ruined it for me.
Al Pacino hasn't gone that crazy, has he? We can still watch him, right? I can still watch Any Given Sunday.
For now.
And his speech in that movie is probably one of the greatest speeches ever in any movie.
For now.
Fingers crossed.
They'll don't worry. They'll remake it with a transgender coach on Netflix.
Why? What's the coach's name?
It'll be something androgynous.
That's Coach Androgynous. It's just
Pat. It's just Pat from SNL back in the day. Remember when you used to actually like have funny jokes and now you can't?
I mean, I miss Neil or not. What's his name? Who used to do the news? Who used to do the weekend updates? What was his name?
Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald.
He was the greatest.
The greatest. Like that was the SNL at its peak.
The greatest of all time.
Oh, it's so good.
There's Norm's comedy, especially when he gets into like Hitler jokes, there's some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard.
Oh, his OJ jokes. His Clinton jokes might be better though.
Have you ever seen him on The View where he was talking about the Clinton body count?
You know he's a murderer, right?
He's like, oh, he's a murderer, and they're like,
trying to shut him up.
Whoa! He's like, I thought this was a matter of public record.
I'm pretty sure everyone knew about this.
It was so good. Hold on, I'm gonna pull that up.
Oh, it's so good.
Because
the Vince Foster jokes he had were so good.
I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. We do have other stuff to talk about, but this was Norm Macdonald on The View, making all of the women squirm. When he called Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton murderers. Listen to this. Hold on. You got me? Here we go.
Out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
Oh.
Who's the murderers? Yeah.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, we're not allowed to, you're not allowed to put out no accusations without.
That's a little too far.
This is back when The View was watchable.
Yeah. And he's...
Let's just go on to the next question.
Yeah.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Oh, it's not mine either, and I'm being very nice, okay? Be a good boy. Now, Norm.
Do you never hear that?
No. Listen,
Norm,
we don't need
I don't want to get into
that.
this, and I don't want to hear it, and this is not the place to make those accusations, and you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on to the next question. So get with it.
There you go.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Norm, but you have been properly chastised by Barbara, so I'm now going to ask the next question.
I thought it was a matter of record.
That's the best.
Let me do this, okay?
Just nonchalant. You guys didn't know this?
I thought it was a matter of public record. Real quick, Mike and Old Hickory on Armageddon. Worst movie ever, right, Mike?
Well, I got to say, I really enjoyed it. But the one thing about that movie, you think about it, in real life, the shuttle, they have to postpone it landing because of wind or rain. And they landed it on rough, rocky terrain.
Yeah, it doesn't follow the science, Mike. I'm with you. It's just factually
doesn't follow the science.
It doesn't follow the science.
So E.T., does that follow the science?
I mean, a lot better than Armageddon. That's for damn sure. It's 10:30 on Super Talk.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, you can see the scorch marks on the outside of a parking garage where a fire broke out in downtown Nashville overnight. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac.
Fire officials say that the flames started on the 3rd floor of the garage and then spread all the way up to the 6th floor. Multiple cars were destroyed. The rent between the 5th and the 4th floor collapsed.
She tells us that many of the vehicles that were destroyed were city-owned vehicles. The fire was brought under control, and now comes the work of investigating the cause. At this point, the top floors have been deemed unsafe. Protests and rioting continued in the streets of L.A. last night, but police had another problem. This reporter from KTLA says looters decided to take advantage of all the chaos.
After looting the Apple store here on 8th and Broadway, video showing the store shelves practically emptied out here. The Apple store, one of many businesses looted as thieves targeted the jewelry district last night.
There were arrests made there. Also, investigators have put a man that was seen assaulting a federal police officer during the protest on the FBI's most wanted list. His name is Elpidio Reyna. He's 40 years old. He was seen throwing rocks as federal officers were leaving a command post, and he injured one of the officers. Earthlings are in the clear, but apparently one of our celestial neighbors could be in the crosshairs of a massive space rock.
Scientists who first warned last year that an asteroid called 2024 YR4 had a slight chance of crashing into the Earth in 2032 have reworked the numbers and determined that we're completely safe. But now the moon has a 4.3% chance of being struck by the same rock. While the 10-story high stone would devastate any city on impact, it's expected the asteroid would have little effect if it were to hit our nearest natural satellite. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And that's the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
1036 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Hey, do me a favor. Hop over on the YouTube channel. Hit like, hit subscribe, join the conversation. There's a guy in there. Did you see? He's back. Our favorite liberal friend.
The milk fetish guy.
Yeah, the milk fetish guy. He said all Chris does is insult people.
I mean, off air, you're very mean to me.
What an idiot that guy is. What a loser. I don't insult people. Sorry, I had to do it.
Should we go to our HR meetings that we had? No.
Yeah, dude, I have all the HR training, man. I just cheat. Anyway.
I do too.
Anyway, we got a lot to cover. I do want to play you that clip from Dana Bash, who reacts very surprised when Trump labels the rioters insurrectionists. We'll play that in a second. But first, Mike in Nashville has been holding for a minute. Mike, I'm sorry I kept you on hold so long. What's up, brother?
Yeah, that's no problem. Listen, Chris, Maxine Waters, this woman here, she's nothing but a troublemaker. For her to say that there was no violence, you played the clip, for her to come on the radio, TV, and say that there was no violence when, like you said, there's cars on fire, people throwing rocks at the police and, blocking traffic and doing all kind of bad stuff. It just amazes me. And then, with Gavin Newsom, that lawsuit is not going to go anywhere. Chris, it just keeps getting worse. Every time, over the last couple of months, we've been talking about, the judges that are protecting these people. We talked about a guy going down to El Salvador, a senator or congressman doing that. We talked about these people letting people out of the courtroom before the police get their time home as people.
Yep.
It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And now you got people in America that are actually fighting and rallying and protesting for people that are in the country illegally, man. This is just crazy. And, for the guy, Gavin Newsom out here in California to say that he didn't need Donald Trump's help. If, like Trump said this morning on that tweet that you played, if Donald Trump wouldn't have stepped in, Chris, L.A. would be on fire right now. People would have tried to burn the whole damn city to the ground because they don't have enough police force to control everything. They're short-handed. Donald Trump did him a favor, and this guy, and the way he shows appreciation is about saying that he wants to sue Donald Trump. That Donald Trump came in without his approval. This is embarrassing. And like I said, the next time I call you, Chris, it'll probably be something even worse than what I just got through talking about with these Democrats, because these people are nothing but losers with the capital L, just like that guy that's on the YouTube feed. And I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, Mike, real quick, with everything that you're seeing out of L.A., after the fires, after these riots, do you think that L.A. should host the Olympics in 2026?
No, not if Gavin Newsom is the president. Is the governor. If Gavin Newsom is still in power, no, he shouldn't. Because it's like Trump said, the guy is incompetent. He's already shown that he has no control over the state of California. And California, as long as he's in power, Chris, the Olympics should find another place to go to, because this guy is an embarrassment to the United States of America. And I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I'm with you, Mike, and I appreciate you calling in as always and holding for us. Thanks so much. This is the comments that Mike was talking about from Maxine Waters, where she said, "Don't believe your lying eyes."
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
Okay, so there was no violence except for those few incidents you saw. Is that what she's telling us? There was no violence. Don't believe your lying eyes. Yep, that's what she's telling us. Video after video. police officers having rocks thrown at them, DHS vehicles having rocks thrown at them. One of the guys that was throwing the rocks, they went full manhunt on. And Pam Bondi, the FBI, they're going after this guy. They got him. The FBI was looking for him. You've seen the video, right? Where that guy is. I mean, the DHS vehicles are driving by, and the guy's bending down, and there's broken pieces of concrete down low, and he's grabbing those broken pieces of concrete and just hurling them at the DHS vehicles, at the windshields. I think it broke one of the agent's wrist. Insane. But they got him. Pam Bondi announced that last night. This is Pam Bondi on Fox News. I think it was Ingram Angle. No, it was Hannity. But Pam Bondi, whatever show it is, she says, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
The cinder block case, Sean. Remember that case? We have breaking news right now. The case where the guy was breaking up the cinder blocks and he was throwing them at police cars. The federal officer had injured his hand. He was wearing a mask. The FBI has identified him. Bill Isaly, our incredible U.S. attorney out there working with ATF, DEA, and the FBI have been doing a remarkable job. That guy has just been identified, and they are doing a search warrant on his house as we speak. And he has been identified. See his face. He is going to be on, his name is Reyes. He is going to be on the most wanted list. You have broken the news. His face is out there right now. That's him. He has been identified by great police work by the FBI. So you can run. You can't hide. We are coming after you federally. If you assault a police officer, if you rob a store, if you loot, if you spit on a police officer, we're coming after you.
I love this new FBI. You say get him, they say got him. And I love the way Pam Bondi says, listen, we're not going to wait for the city of L.A. We're going to come after you federally. We're going to charge you federally. Congratulations. But they officially got this guy. It was posted on X last night. His name is Elpidio Reina, 40-year-old. He was the suspect that was wanted in this incident that you're seeing on the stream, if you're watching, where he was hurling the rocks at the DHS vehicles driving by, just whipping pieces of concrete at these police officers. You can see him there in the bike helmet. He's picking up rocks. Boom, right in the windshield. Boom, right at the driver's side window. I just unhinged. This is the violence that Maxine Waters wants you to know you didn't see. You understand that? Are you keeping score at home? What you're witnessing on the live stream with this individual hurling rocks at DHS vehicles, not violence, according to Maxine Waters. Or maybe this is one of the incidents that she was talking about. Maybe. I mean, I think when you look at these rioters, the best word to describe them is the word that Donald Trump used, which was insurrectionists. These guys, they're not here for the right reasons. They're not in some civil rights battle. They're here for chaos. CNN, they were very upset that Donald Trump labeled them as insurrectionists. And Dana Bash, she had some thoughts on it. This is you'll hear the clip of Donald Trump calling them insurrectionists, and then Dana Bash reacting.
I'll tell you about these people causing all the problems in LA. Are they people ICE is trying to deport, or are they professional agitators?
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators.
Professional.
They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
Now it's going to go back to Dana Bash, who is just stunned.
It's like you queued him up, Priscilla. That word he used, they're insurrectionists. I can't imagine that was an accident, because it seems as though that is the place that the White House is trying to get. And for the president, it's icing on the cake that he can do it in the state of California.
I love how it seems like that's the place the president wants to get. That's what the president wants. Okay, well, go home. Don't give him what he wants then. You guys go home and everything's fine, right? Everything's great. This is what he wants. He wants an insurrection. Okay.
Because on a whole host of issues, he has had California, Gavin Newsom in particular, in his sights. The question he was asked was about Newsom daring Tom Homan to come and arrest Newsom. And the president responded, I would do it. And then he said, Gavin wants the publicity.
Where's the lie?
This is a very serious word that's being thrown around now, insurrection. That's a rebellion of the states or people in the states against the federal government.
What else do you call this? We're trying to enforce federal law, and we're witnessing these rebels come out and hurl rocks at those federal agents. Yeah, it fits the definition, does it not?
It is not something to be trifled with. If, for example, to your point, the president were to invoke the Insurrection Act, I think we would have yet another legal morass. It would be another instance of the way that the White House is trying to declare emergencies or insurrections in order to unlock vast powers which most presidents don't have access to. More broadly, the immigration issue, that is the track that we're going down with this administration.
It has been the track.
Yeah, that is the track, and it's popular with the American people. And I think the scenes that are coming out of L.A., the reason individuals like Maxine Waters don't want you to believe your lying eyes is because it really highlights the migrant invasion that happened under Joe Biden. And the professional agitators that are in the crowd are taking note of the conversation online. And one of the topics that has been discussed is that why are you waving flags from other countries as you're protesting the ability to stay and not be deported? Well, the leftist agitators have caught wind of that. And there's a movement among those professional protesters to swap out the foreign flags for American flags. So that way it seems a bit more patriotic and less invasion-y. I don't think anybody's going to be fooled because we already have all the video looking very invasion-y. Is that the word? But we know they're professionals. We know that they're coming from out of town. I highlighted that earlier. There's a Kobe Bryant mural that was completely spray painted over. I don't think somebody from LA would do that. I just don't. But where they come from, Portland, Seattle, that's where a lot of these Antifa agitators are coming from. They are professionals. Who's paying them? I think we need a full investigation, and people need to be held accountable for this. You had Senator Mike Lee. He tweeted out a video of the pallets of bricks that are popping up in Los Angeles, the Brick Ferry paying a visit. And he made the accusation that this has to be USAID money. It has to be. I saw a meme, and you've seen the meme before where it's like rockets going at Israel and then rockets coming out of Israel and says my tax dollars, somehow also my tax dollars. I saw the same meme, except it was done with that highway overpass where it had police officers down low. It said my tax dollars. Then had protesters up top throwing rocks, also somehow my tax dollars. Yeah, it's a crazy time right now. Absolutely insane. But the people that are doing this are professional agitators. They are insurrectionists. We got one of them. He's going to be federally charged. I wonder what they're going to charge him with. No word on that yet. Assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder. I think you could go down the line when you're throwing cinder blocks at speeding DHS vehicles. I think that you could make the argument it was attempted murder. But there's a lot more to cover. Businesses pulling out of L.A., a lot more reaction. Wait until you hear what MSNBC was saying. They always have a Princeton University professor on, Eddie Glaude. And Eddie Glaude, sorry. Eddie, whenever he goes off on America's evil and racist, Nicole Wallace on MSNBC, she'll do this little thing where she'll be like, say more. Say more. Well, she did it again. I'll bring you that audio when we get back. It's 10:50, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's June. You know what that means. Time to get your system serviced the best way, the Busy Bee way. You want it running at maximum peak efficiency all summer long. That way you're not overpaying on that energy bill. Call Busy Bee. Get your system serviced. That way, when it's, the middle of August, you don't have a problem pop up because you know that thing is rocking. And this summer, they're turning up the heat with some great deals at Busy Bee. If you purchase a new AC unit in June, maybe your AC went out at the end of last season and you've been kicking the can on it. I did that one year. And now it's summertime again, so you gotta replace it. Well, if you replace it with Busy Bee, you'll be entered to win a free 3-day beach getaway. That's right. You buy the AC unit, they'll handle the vacation. Gas, lodging, 2 meals a day, all on Busy Bee. The winner's going to be announced on Facebook. And there's a lot more deals if you're looking for them. Free package upgrade on air duct cleaning, $500 off select tankless or upright water heaters, 15% off whole home drain repipes, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. Plus, don't forget, right now, the month of June, you buy one Beehive Club membership, you get a second one for free. That's right. 2 years for the price of one. Just $99 will cover you for this year and for next. For satisfaction guaranteed, it's Busy Bee HVAC. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth pushes back on Democrat claims that Marines shouldn't be deployed to the riots in L.A. This story and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 10:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Do me a favor. Find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We got a big party coming up, and all of you are invited. King's Dining and Entertainment, June 17th. We're even going to have a special safe section for all of the liberals and the leftists that listen to us and hate everything we talk about. We'll have a soundproof booth for you guys.
It's going to be right by the kitchen door.
Roped off, velvet rope, VIP only. And all you hate listeners, you can get on in there. You know, the Jeremiahs of the world, the It's Milk on the YouTube chat, all you guys. 997WTN.com for more info. There's no info on the safe space. That's just something I'm working on my own. We'll make sure you guys are good. Brian Stelter over on CNN, he was warning people to not, hey, don't put too much stock in the videos on what's happening in L.A. Because it'll create a false impression of what's been happening in Los Angeles. And that false impression is created because, the clips are a day or two old. Wait, what?
And I've noticed, Brianna, we all live on our phones these days. We're all scrolling through social media. You've got to be careful at a delicate moment like this to look at the timestamps, look at the dates, look at when things are actually posted, and if they're really from the situation they're purporting to be. A lot of these algorithms are surfacing hours old or even days old content. So you might be looking at a video of something, wondering what's happening in LA. It's actually from 2 days ago.
Oh.
And that's, it only matters because it can give people a false impression of what's actually happening at a moment of unrest.
I mean, two things are happening in this clip. One, Brian Stelter is just openly admitting how dumb the CNN audience is that they can't look at a timestamp on a tweet. Okay, first and foremost. Openly acknowledging that. Secondly, a 2-day-old video doesn't give you an accurate depiction of what's been happening this weekend in Los Angeles. Well, hey, yeah, sure, rocks were thrown at cops, but the video you're looking at is from Friday. It's Monday. So obviously you're getting a false impression of what's been going on. The left knows that they're losing this information war. The left knows that they're losing the propaganda battle. And what you witness here from Brian Stelter is him trying to cover that. A little CYA going on. Oh, it's getting a false impression because that's 2 days old. Okay. To be honest with you, the most accurate source for information currently on what's happening in L.A. is Twitter. That's where the information is. That's why he's warning you not to go there. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shutting down Democratic claims that Marines arriving at the L.A. protests aren't adequately trained.
As far as training, all of the units on the ground have been fully trained in their capabilities of what they're executing on the ground.
Hegseth speaking to the House Appropriations Subcommittee. Could the Marines stop a massive asteroid once predicted to hit the Earth?
Scientists who first warned last year that an asteroid called 2024 YR4 had a slight chance of crashing into the Earth in 2032 have reworked the numbers and determined that we're completely safe. But now the moon has a 4.3% chance of being struck by the same rock. While the 10-story high stone would devastate any city on impact, it's expected the asteroid would have little effect if it were to hit our nearest natural satellite. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Marines to the moon? Here in Nashville, the downtown library branch is closed after a parking garage erupted in flames overnight at 6th and Commerce Street. Here's Channel 4's Alexandria Adams.
Hotel guests telling us they could see and smell that smoke inside of the hallways of their hotel rooms. And you can hear explosions actually coming from the parking garage.
Waiting now for determination of whether that building's safe for people who park their cars there to be able to get them out. And Metro Police have released the body cam footage of yesterday's deadly officer-involved shooting downtown. The officer responds to a call about a man walking down the street at Hermitage Avenue with a gun in his hand when he warns another man approaching him to turn around.
Stop! 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 Go back! Go!
Then the officer continues to warn the man with the gun to drop it. The man with the gun turns and charges at the officer.
Drop the gun! Come on! 580. Shots fired.
Now, that man died at the hospital. The officer's okay, shaken up, but okay. No word on the suspect's identity. New information from the company that runs the Trousdale Correctional Facility, the prison there east of Nashville where a riot took place Sunday night. Core Civic says no prison guards were taken hostage, no prisoners escaped, but the prison remains on lockdown as TBI investigates. One guard and 3 inmates were injured when some of those inmates started fires, destroyed security cameras, took over a prison yard. And in Sumner County, commissioners will be voting soon on a resolution asking for the Holy Spirit to move within the halls of government. Commissioner Jeremy Mansfield says this resolution echoes that of Governor Bill Lee, which designates July as the annual month of prayer, fasting, and repentance. Mansfield spoke to News 2.
That recognition of our sins and shortcomings and asking God's forgiveness and asking God and Jesus to remove corruption, criminal violence, addiction from our state and restore marriages, strengthen families.
Sumner County Commission expected to review and likely pass that resolution of acknowledgement on June 30th. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere, iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch us. Super Talk TV is live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and our personal favorite, YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the share button. Help us create a massive digital footprint for this radio station. We appreciate it. Thank you. Mayor Karen Bass, the esteemed mayor of Los Angeles. She's doing a media tour. She's trying to clean up what's happening in her city. She only goes on friendly outlets. Have you noticed this? She would never go on Fox. I would pay money. I would actually pay money to see that. That would get me to subscribe to Fox Nation. If they had an interview with Mayor Karen Bass, I'm in on Fox Nation. She won't do it. She'll never do it, but she'll go to friendly outlets like MSNBC. And when she went to MSNBC, she wanted to let everybody know that Los Angeles is not a city of criminals.
I want to play what Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said about you and your city this weekend.
I served with her in Congress before she was ever mayor, and she is a train wreck of a mayor now that is endorsing these kind of activities, has allowed her city to be completely devastated with crime, and now she's holding press conferences talking about the fact that people have the right to peacefully protest and that they're a city of immigrants. Well, they're not a city of immigrants, they're a city of criminals.
Where's the lie? Where's the lie? I can't find one. Mayor Karen Bass is going to do her best.
What's your response?
Well, sometimes when such outlandish statements are made, they're just beneath the dignity of her office. And what she is saying is absolutely ridiculous. We are not a city of criminals. We are a city where crime has gone down significantly. Does crime still take place? Of course. We have a number of issues here, and we have been resolving them. But the idea that we are a city of criminals is just very unfortunate.
I mean, well, your city officials won't cooperate with federal authorities to enforce federal law. I mean, I think by definition that feels criminal to me. Does it not feel criminal to you? You have invaders on your street hurling rocks and fireworks and projectiles at police and lighting cars on fire. I feel like the description's pretty accurate. Mayor Karen Bass doesn't seem to agree. Is it just me or does Mayor Karen Bass look like a Batman villain? Just me? It can't be just me. The way she always has that weird smile going on looks psychotic, right? It looks like botched Botox or something. I don't know. Sorry. Is it just me? No, it's not, right? Like so when she got the filler injection, she said, "Focus on the cheeks." That's what I said. All right, say no more, fam. We got you.
It's 2 for 1.
Yeah, she just looks off. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, she had more to say on MSNBC because, it's MSNBC, and they're going to let her peddle whatever narrative she wants to peddle. This is Mayor Karen Bass moments ago.
Meantime, more federal forces are arriving. But here's what President Trump said all the way back in 2020. Listen.
Look, we have laws. We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that, even in a Portland case. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor.
Again, that was his stance in 2020. So what's changed?
I mean, I can listen. I know I don't want to interrupt the esteemed mayor of Los Angeles, but I can tell you exactly what changed. The summer of love changed everything. He sat on his hands while Democratic governors did nothing, and then cities burned down, and he's not going to make that same mistake again. I think it's pretty clear what changed. What changed was the activist leftists going a step too far, and I think that's putting it lightly, during the summer of love, and not wanting to see a repeat of that here in 2025. I think that's what changed. Mayor Karen Bass.
Well, I don't think anything has changed. I think, well, maybe this.
No, I mean, nothing has changed when it comes to the Democratic leadership. Nothing has. The Democratic leadership still encourages these kind of riots, and they still encourage this kind of antagonizing of federal authorities. So, no, that hasn't changed. Keep going.
Maybe he does not have the individuals in the White House who tried to tell him to put on the brakes. Maybe that's what has changed, but I don't know.
Maybe he watched what you guys did during the summer of love, Democrats, and he realizes that there's not a moment to lose. Has Minneapolis built back up yet? No, it's still a mess. So many of these cities that were destroyed during the summer of love, they haven't been rebuilt. Black Lives Matter isn't going in there building schools. They're not building new playgrounds for the kids to have somewhere to go. No, they're laundering that money. They're keeping it for themselves. They're moving on. Democrat leadership let that happen in all of these big blue cities. Donald Trump doesn't want to see that happen again because you know who it hurts? It hurts American citizens.
What I do know is what is happening in Los Angeles. And until the raids stop, I am going to be concerned about fear and tension in the city, people going to work and not knowing whether or not they're going to be able to get home that evening. We have people who are showing up, who are in the country legally, showing up to the immigration office for their annual appointments, maybe sometimes even bringing their families, and then getting detained. So the raids do not help our city. We are a city of immigrants, and there are sectors of the workforce that are dominated by immigrant labor.
You know, she always says immigrant. She never highlights the word that's really important here: illegal immigrant. She also said the raids aren't we're not feeling safe until the raids stop. Everything's going to calm down when the raids stop. You know how you stop the raids, Mayor Karen Bass, Governor Newsom? You allow ICE and DHS into your facilities, into your jails, into your prisons, so that way they can take the bad guys to where they need to go without having to do raids on the street. But you guys don't do that. You tie DHS's hand, you tie ICE's hands, and so now they're forced to do things the way they're doing them. You can blame Donald Trump all you want. I've yet to hear any of the Democrats point blame at Joe Biden for allowing this migrant invasion. And I've yet to hear any Democrat leader point blame at sanctuary cities for allowing this kind of chaos to happen because you don't cooperate with federal officials. I mean, she can give us all the word salad that she wants. If she cooperated with federal officials, we wouldn't have workplace raids in Los Angeles. They'd be getting these individuals in the courthouse. They'd be focusing on the worst first, like was the plan. But when you're doing it in the streets, well, it doesn't matter if you have a criminal history. If you are an illegal alien and you get swept up in those raids, you're going to face the same consequences as any other illegal alien. By definition, you are a criminal if you're here illegally. I know that's hard for Mayor Karen Bass to wrap her head around. We're a city of immigrants, you know. We got to protect all Angelinos. That's what she wants you to know. But it's just a joke. This woman is a joke, an absolute joke.
And so the economy of our city does not need this. We are 12 months away from the World Cup, and we're trying to bring our city together to be.
I love it. Our economy doesn't need this. Does your economy need your citizens fleeing because of your terrible liberal policies? I mean, we've had an influx of Californians here in Tennessee. Don't California or Tennessee, please. But we've had an influx here because of your policies. Are the U-Haul prices still just astronomically higher going out of town than into town? Probably. Does that help your economy? Probably not. That's Mayor Karen Bass. She's a mess. She's an absolute mess. She's not. What do the Democrats always say? We need to meet the moment. We need to meet the moment. She's not meeting the moment. She's not meeting the moment at all. She's a clown. The raids do not help our city. That's what she said.
Meantime, more federal forces are arriving. But here's what President Trump said all the way back in 2020. Listen.
Look, we have laws. We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that. Even in a Portland case, we can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor.
Again, that was his stance in 2020. So what's changed?
Well, 2020 happened. That's what changed. We had a summer of rioting and destruction and death. That pretty much changed things. The Democrats will continue to gaslight us. We need to continue to call them out. Guy Benson on Fox News. This is last night.
Look, I think what people are ignoring is the fact that ICE agents, federal law enforcement agents, carrying out their lawful duties were assaulted in Los Angeles leading up to this rioting. The rioting was underway, at least in some capacity, for days before the president decided to deploy a limited number of National Guard assets to protect federal assets, federal property, and federal agents because they were under attack. And the way that much of the media tells it, and certainly almost all the Democrats tell it, the whole thing is Donald Trump's fault or ICE's fault for trying to do their job serving warrants against violent, criminal, illegal immigrants.
And now it's important to point out one more time that the raid that happened at the Home Depot in Los Angeles that really kicked this whole thing off, wasn't a workplace raid, as has been reported by many of your favorite leftists. No. It was actually a much larger investigation into money laundering and cartels, and they were serving warrants based on that investigation. They weren't raiding Home Depot's parking lot to swoop up any illegal aliens they could find. It was an investigation into cartels and money laundering. So there's that, too. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. The distinguished gentleman, Calvin from Lebanon, wants to talk about L.A. What's up, Calvin? How we doing, man?
How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
All right. I'm doing fine. I came out here to take an early lunch just so I could call you and the crew.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, Calvin.
That's right, brother, because I want to remind people of a story that I heard on this radio station before you was there. I guess it's what they call the Summer of Love. I don't know if it was torching because of this Floyd guy who I refuse to learn his name.
The guy
I don't know what it
you're
was.
You're talking about that guy that died of fentanyl, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
And every city, every blue city was torching. And I heard this on this radio station in Portland, downtown Portland. 78-year-old lady looks at her high-rise apartment building. This is to give you an idea, a reminder of who we're dealing with, people. She looks out, sees fire, calls her friend who had been living in this building forever, too, and said, "There's fire outside." She said, "I'm grabbing the fire extinguisher and I'm going down." Well, I think the other lady went with her, too, with fire extinguishers. Well, how dare you step out this door with fire extinguishers? This ain't about extinguishing. This is about lighting. And she was attacked by these people who said, I can still hear that woman's voice. "It's because of you. It's because of you and your whole generation that we're out here. You're a bunch of frickin' racists." And she hollered, "Go get the house paint. Let's pour it on them." And they poured the house paint on them. Chris, this could have been your grandmother, my grandmother, and as far as I'm concerned, 2 10-year-old kids who came out with fire extinguishers. These people are lunatics, they're deranged, and they should be thrown behind bars, and the city leaders for allowing it.
Amen.
And we should throw away their prisoner rights and blast the Word of God at least 15 hours a day through the prison until they have a coming with God.
Amen.
So,
I'm with you, Calvin. It's got to end. It has to end. And I appreciate the call, as always. The distinguished gentleman from Lebanon, Tennessee. Brian is in Nashville. He wants to talk about Mayor Karen Bass. What's up, Brian?
What's up, man? Hey, I sent you a picture of my shirt a while ago.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. It's based.
Hey, you were mentioning earlier, or you played a clip of Stupid Bass. Can I say that on the radio?
Oh,
Stupid
yeah.
Bass.
Yeah, I mean, unless if my 3-year-old's listening, she's going to look at my wife and say, "We don't say stupid." But other than that, I think we're safe.
That's right. That's the buzzword. It's stupid, not the bass.
Yeah.
That's where we've come to. Sorry if I said that. Whatever your daughter's name. I love children. I also have a grandson named Brooks, just like you have a son. So cool. And they live in Murfreesboro.
Let's go.
Anyway, I love that you made that joke. I about died a while ago when you had that joke about Bass looking like. What'd you say she looked like?
She looks like a Batman villain, like botched Botox. Is it just? It can't just be me, right? If you dyed her hair green, she's like a dead ringer for a female Joker.
100%. Anyway, what I wanted to say was, a while ago I heard you played a clip where she said crime is actually going down in L.A. Crime has never gone down in L.A., just like Memphis, just like a lot of places. But what it reminded me of Freddie O'Connell. I thought I had a flashback of him saying, "Crime's down." And I'm thinking, I live in the city. I know exactly what it is. Now, I don't feel like it's going down, and you know what people say about impressions and feelings.
Yep.
But I don't have the statistics, but I can tell you for sure we're shooting people on downtown streets that wag a gun around. And he carried that gun a long time yesterday before that officer shot him. And I want to say that was a textbook. That was textbook what that officer did, and he is to be congratulated by
100%.
by legal citizens like me. Tell him, if he's listening, I appreciate you, sir.
Hey.
That's all I got.
Likewise. Hey, appreciate the call, Brian, as always. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. We got one of our favorite hate texters on the text line, Jeremiah. "You kill me with that BS. George Floyd died from a cop with his knee on his neck." Not if you look at the toxicology report. Not so there's that, actually. Listen, If you want to go off feelings, yeah, George Floyd died because of a cop. If you want to go off facts, it was a fentanyl overdose. He was crying for his mama. Remember that? They told us he was crying for his mom. And then we found out that his girlfriend was like 20 feet away and was saved in his cell phone as mama. Weird. Yeah. We have a long history of the Democrats gaslighting us. They're continuing it now with the LA riots. More of your calls on the way. Plus, coming up at 11:35, we got the all-important lightning round that everybody's excited. It's becoming a fan favorite. Anytime I say it, you got to hit it. Lightning round. Ready? Oh, I didn't hear it on my side. There. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's coming up. We're going to have a lot of fun. 615-737-9986. 11:22. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Better Water LLC. I talk about these guys all the time. They're a sponsor of the show. Great sponsor. Patriots work at Better Water LLC. And if you're tired of the weird smells, stains, or just plain old bad tasting water at your house, time to call Better Water. Think about what they can do is like installing a giant Brita filter for your whole house. Or they can scale it down for just under your sink or even for your whole business, and they'll handle everything. There could be some nasty stuff in your water. Sulfur, iron, chlorine, bacteria, even E. coli. This is the water you're drinking. You're bathing in. You're bathing your kids, your grandkids in it. Don't. Talk to Better Water LLC. They'll test your water for free, and if you have that nasty stuff in it, they'll offer a range of options to clean it up. Reverse osmosis, specialized filters, UV lights, water softeners. They got it all, and they'll clean up your water. They're a local company based out of Smyrna. They serve all of Middle Tennessee, and you've probably already tasted their work. They're filtering the water at your favorite coffee shop and at the hospitals around town. So stop drinking the junk out of your tap. Call Better Water today, 615-355-6063. That's 615-355-6063. Online, betterwater.com.
Wait until you hear how a woman escaped a sexual assault in Kentucky. I've got that and more for you at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did it have anything to do with a gun? Because I've heard that helps.
Unfortunately, she wasn't holding it.
Oh. She wasn't holding the gun. Or she wasn't holding it. Depends on what it is. Looking forward to that.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, Brother Chris.
Is that what she said? Is that in the report also? All right. Ken's coming up in the news. Looking forward to that, as always. Ken Weaver's the best newsman in the business. Are we going to have dicey weather this weekend, Ken?
You know, Brother Chris, I don't know if it's going to be dicey, but it definitely looks like it's going to be wet.
Okay.
It looks like a soggy weekend. Maybe not like a complete washout like they like to say, but definitely people are going to get wet. There's going to be heavy rain according to the forecast right now. I just really haven't seen anything that talks about any severe weather.
I feel so guilty, though.
Why is that?
So I'm going to Dallas this weekend for Turning Point's Young Women's Leadership Summit.
All right.
I don't know why they invite me. I'm not young, not a woman. Still, they want me to go. So if it's raining all weekend, that means the wife is going to be cooped up with 4 kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you've got good kids, man.
We do. But even good kids have their limits.
Yeah.
Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about legal analysis when it comes to Gavin Newsom on whether or not he should or should not be arrested, which Donald Trump said, I like the idea.
The president said, possibly in jest, that if he were Tom Homan, he would arrest Gavin Newsom. Do you believe that Newsom should face consequences in a legal way?
That's not my lane. I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered. I'll say that. I mean, look, he's standing in the way of the administration and the carrying out of federal law.
You know, I like that. Tar and feather him. We used to be a proper country when that was still acceptable, just for the record. And I think we need to make tar and feathering great again.
Right. He is applauding the bad guys and standing in the way of the good guys. He is trying to. He's a participant, an accomplice in our federal law enforcement agents being not just disrespected but assaulted. This is a serious problem, and the governor is now filing a lawsuit against the president. What a joke. Do your job, man.
Amen.
That's what I tell Gavin Newsom. Do your job. Stop working on your rebranding and be a governor. Stand up for the rule of law. He's not doing that. So I don't know what the ultimate measure will be there, but I know that in the interim time, the president of the United States is showing real leadership, and we're not going to allow L.A. to burn. We've seen this movie before, right?
Yep.
This thing gets out of hand real quickly, especially in a big city like that. And if local and state officials are unwilling or unable to do their job, the president of the United States will do his. And
and you got to send a message, right? Because all the Democrats' messaging is that keep going, make your voices heard, get out there, join the movement. And we need to send a loud message that kind of rhetoric can't be allowed to continue. I hope Gavin Newsom does get arrested, because we're already seeing that the rhetoric from the Democrats are actually emboldening a lot of these protesters. I did it with air quotes, protesters across the country. CNN reported that it's spreading. It's spreading. We talked about this earlier, too. These protests are spreading all over the country, and it is starting to feel Summer of Love 2.0-esque.
The protests are spreading to cities across the country right now, from California to Dallas and Atlanta, Louisville, and New York. Many protesters say it's time to take a stand against the Trump administration's policies and what they feel are heavy-handed and heartless enforcement.
Oh, heavy-handed and heartless. Heavy-handed and heartless. I feel like he's doing what needs to be done. And by doing it non-discriminatory, it's not heavy-handed and heartless. It's fair. You broke into the country, you got to get sent home. And it'd be a lot better if the city of Los Angeles wanted to cooperate, so that way we could pick up these violent offenders in the jail cells. It would be safer for the police. It would be safer for the offenders. But LA doesn't want to do that. All of this issue, all the problems that's happening in LA, they sit at the feet of Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass, and nothing any Democrat is going to say is going to change my mind. On the way, coming up next, the fan favorite, Lightning Round. We'll do that for you when we return. Right now, the news with Ken Weaver on Super Talk.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, authorities are inspecting buildings around a downtown Nashville parking garage where a fire broke out overnight. Channel 4's Joylyn Pukovac was from the scene at 6th and Commerce.
This video shared with WSMV4 shows the smoke billowing from the garage, and you can hear what sounds like multiple explosions. Fire officials say that was likely the sound of popping tires and cars burning up.
That's tires blowing up, gas tanks, the storage area. They had like 5-gallon gas cans and all that in there.
The fire was intense enough to force the hotel to evacuate.
Yeah, the cause of that fire under investigation. The downtown library branch is closed until further notice, and some of those hotel guests looks like their stay might be a little longer than planned. Parts of Los Angeles still smoldering from more immigration protests overnight. Meanwhile, in our nation's capital this morning at the House Appropriations Committee meeting, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defending deployment of the National Guard and Marines.
ICE ought to be able to do its job, whether it's Minneapolis or Los Angeles.
I have limited time. I asked a budget
and they
question.
Are being,
Could the Secretary please address the budget? Thank you.
You asked about the situation in Los Angeles, and we believe ICE agents should be allowed to be safe in doing their operations, and we have deployed National Guard and the Marines to protect them in the execution of their duties.
Typical congressional hearing there in our nation's capital. Clarksville police asking for the public's help to stop a rash of car burglaries. It happened right before sunrise yesterday at the Sinclair Ridge Apartments.
The protests are spreading to
Surveillance footage showing suspects arriving in a gray Kia and a dark-colored SUV before smashing their way into vehicles, stealing several items, including a gun. And right now in Kentucky, police in Hopkinsville have a man in in custody, accused of choking out a woman, then forcing her at gunpoint to perform sex acts. Channel 4 says this woman jumped out of the moving car to get away. Police say when they arrived, she had strangulation marks on her neck and was having trouble breathing. They arrested Deontay Coleman, charged with first-degree sexual abuse, first-degree strangulation, kidnapping, theft by unlawful taking, or disposition of property. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. This is my favorite part of the show now. We're calling it the lightning round. That's what we're calling it, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to run through all the stories that we didn't have a chance to get to during the show, and we'll give you an opportunity for your last-minute hot takes on anything we talked about or anything we didn't talk about, 615-737-9986. So without further ado, kick it off, man. It's the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
You're not going to hear this music combined with this story anywhere else, I assure you. Another Chinese scientist from Wuhan charged with smuggling illegal biological material into the U.S. Again? Didn't we just have this like 2 weeks ago?
Just last week, dude.
It's crazy. Chinese researcher from Wuhan allegedly tried to smuggle biological materials into the U.S. from Wuhan and then lied to the feds about the secretive scheme. I'm going to pronounce this name correctly, so please don't fact check me. Shengjin Huan was arrested.
That's not bad,
It's
man.
pretty good. It's pretty good. He was arrested Sunday. He landed in Detroit, good old-fashioned Detroit, on a flight from Shanghai, according to charging documents. She was charged with smuggling goods into the U.S. and making false statements. Han is the third Chinese scientist to be charged with smuggling illegal biological materials into Michigan in recent weeks. What the hell is happening in Michigan? Well, can we ask that? Or are we investigating this? I hope we're investigating this. But it seems like so often anything that has to do with China, it's just silent, right? Like we don't hear anything from the administration. We don't hear anything from the FBI. It's just quiet. Oh, okay. I feel like this is a bigger deal than anybody's making it out to be. Third scientist in just as many weeks. This is after we know that thousands upon thousands of Chinese nationals, male, war-fighting age males, snuck into our country under Joe Biden. This is after we know that they were operating a secret biolab in California. This is after we know that they were operating secret police stations in our country. This is after we know that they flew a Chinese spy balloon over the entire country. And it just seems like this doesn't get even an ounce of interest on mainstream media. I understand that LA is burning down to the ground and we have that whole narrative to combat. But I just feel like this should be a bigger story. I feel like it should. Yet it's not. New York Post has it. Upon Han's arrival to the U.S., border officers discovered that Han sent 4 packages that contained biological material related to roundworms from China, according to court documents. Roundworms. The packages were sent in 2024 and 2025, and they were addressed to individuals associated with a laboratory at the University of Michigan. Once again, going back into these colleges and the labs. However, Han lied to officers and said she didn't send packages to members of the Michigan lab, according to court documents. She also claimed the packages contained plastic cups rather than Petri dishes. FBI and Homeland Security investigators grilled Han, and she admitted to shipping the biological materials to the lab from her research as a PhD student at the College of Life and Science and Technology, and I'm going to pronounce this correctly as well, Huizhong University of Science and Technology, HUST, if you will.
Sounds good to me, Brother Chris.
In Wuhan, according to court documents. So this is a story that we're going to pay attention to. It doesn't seem like the mainstream media wants to, but that's our first story here in the lightning round. All right. You ready? You ready? All right. So we go from China and the bio stuff to, a China adjacent story. We all know where the virus came from. It came from China. It came from Wuhan. It didn't come from a pangolin at a wet market. It came from China. That's right. Well, when that virus came over, they forced a vaccine on us. And a lot of people are like, it's not a vaccine, it's gene therapy. It's experimental gene therapy at that. And we had a lot of questions. A lot of stuff was exposed to the CDC during the pandemic, NIH, FDA, and we thought to ourselves, what are these guys doing? Well, now we have new leadership in there, and it's the leftists who are wondering, what are these guys doing? RFK has removed all current members of the CDC Vaccine Advisory Committee, and I'm pretty excited about this. U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on Monday dismissed an expert panel of vaccine advisors that has historically guided the federal government's vaccine recommendations, saying the group is plagued with conflicts of interest. Yeah, I would tend to agree. It seems like there's been a revolving door between our 3-letter agency agencies that focus on health and the big pharma companies. So you could imagine how those conflict of interest would come up. Now, a lot of the pro-vaccine crowd is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? We need our vaccines. And you know, they're in line to get boosted. But the majority of people I talk to have serious questions around vaccines. And we have serious questions about the leadership that was in control during the pandemic. So with that being said, I don't know what's going to come out of this. I don't know. Maybe RFK Jr. appoints a brand new board. We get brand new science, and they say vaccines are great. We love them. Everybody should get 2 of each. Whatever. Get all the vaccines you can get. Let's go for max vaxing. Maybe that's what happens. I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe it does. But if it did, that would take a lot of ammo away from the anti-vax crowd. We have new leadership in there. We're going to get new experts on the vaccine panel, and we're going to get new science. I'm looking forward to it, and I love the changes that RFK is making at HHS. That's another story in the lightning round. All right, I got another one here. Remember Kathy Griffin? She's the lady that always gets confused with Carrot Top. People confuse her with Carrot Top. She went on that's what she's famous for. She went on the Don Lemon podcast, which I know you guys watch, so you probably are well aware of this statement. Everybody, it's appointment listening for the Don Lemon podcast. But she went on Don Lemon, and she has a wild, radical conspiracy theory, and she is not afraid to share it.
All right, look, ready for a tinfoil hat moment?
I'm sorry?
Are you ready for a tinfoil hat moment?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to be bold and say this.
Be bold.
You know, you can take issue with this all you want.
Be bold.
I do not think he won in a free and fair election.
Here we go again. Were we not allowed to say that? Didn't you used to get banned off Twitter for saying stuff like that?
Yeah, you would get, you were suspended.
Now you
kicked off.
Now you get prominently featured on the Don Lemon podcast. This is clickbait, and we're probably doing exactly what you wanted us to do. Damn, I fell right for a trap. But this is her tinfoil hat moment. And she's just sitting there.
How do you like that, lefties? Yeah, I said it. I'm Kathy Griffin, and I do not think Trump won in a free and fair election. I believe there was tampering. I don't know. I don't know if it was the Elon connection. I don't know if it was just a few good old boys in the South who didn't do what they.
Oh, yeah, it was good old boys in the South. That's yeah, we all got together. We said we're gonna rig this thing. We're gonna rig it for Trump. That's what happened.
They accuse us of, if you remember Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, what they tend to accuse us of is what we find out they themselves did. So I know I'll take heat for this, and people are gonna say I'm crazy, but I've been called crazy before, Don, and I just. The more times
your gut is telling you something happened.
My gut is telling me that something was up with that.
You're not far off. I won't say that I disagree with you.
Oh, so Don Lemon's in on the conspiracy theory too. Ban them off the internet. we can't let this kind of mis and disinformation continue unabated. So that's another story in the lightning round. I got a good one here. It does seem like Donald Trump and Elon Musk are making up. Have you noticed this? It does. And I have the heart emoji receipts to prove it. So Donald Trump was asked about Elon yesterday by Peter Doocy. This is at that round table where he was talking about the $1,000 accounts for babies that are being born between now and 2029, I believe it is. And Elon came up, and this is Donald Trump talking about Elon.
Use of drugs and medicinal.
Oh yeah, they asked about Elon's drug use. That's what it was. Because have you seen the internet videos where Elon looks like he's just like rolling on ecstasy big time, or had a bit too much ketamine or whatever he's doing? Have you seen that inside the Oval Office? Yeah, so that's what they're asking him about. Was he on drugs? Was he on drugs?
Do you think he ever had drugs here at the White House?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I hope not.
No, I think that stuff stopped with the last White House. I think personally, after the cocaine stuff. I think that kind of they slowed the roll on drugs in the White House.
Look, I wish him well. You understand. We had a good relationship, and I just wish him well. Very well, actually. Yeah.
Very well, actually. Well, ALX on Twitter. I don't know if you guys know ALX. He's a big Twitter account. Good guy. And he posted that clip of Donald Trump. And as he posted that clip, Elon Musk replied to it with a heart emoji. And I think the boys are getting back together. I think this is about to be water under the bridge. We know Elon deleted the tweet. We know that he quote tweeted J.D. Vance when J.D. Vance posted a message from Donald Trump, and J.D. said we need decisive leadership. He quote tweeted that and put it in an American flag emoji. Now we get the heart emoji. Seems like these guys are working to getting back together. And Lord willing, it happens before midterms because we could use some of that cash. I don't really care about anything else, but if you want to pump some of that Elon money into the election to help our conservatives get elected, I'm here for it. And then I got one more story here in the lightning round, and then we're going to be talking with Chad Benson. All right, so Mayor Andrew Cuomo, and I played this earlier today on Nashville's Morning News, so if you're one of those all-dayers, you may have heard this. But Mayor Andrew Cuomo is running for mayor in New York City. I don't know why. I don't know who's going to vote for him after, he killed all those elderly people in the nursing home. But he's running. He's running. And he's pandering at the same time. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the video along with the audio that you're hearing on your radio. But he's gathered around with what it looks like a group of Sikhs is what it is. He's hanging with the Sikhs, and it's Cuomo and one other guy, another white guy, or maybe he's Jewish, white guy, whatever, and then a bunch of Sikhs. Okay, Cuomo is wearing a turban.
What?
But it doesn't look like a turban. It looks like one of the swimming caps, but he didn't get it all the way down. Seriously, you should pull it up on the stream if you're not watching us on YouTube, so you can see this. And then his buddy that's with him, I don't know who the buddy is. I have no idea who the buddy is, but he also is wearing a Sikh turban, but his looks like a do-rag from the early 2000s. Seriously, it looks like something you'd see in a Mike Jones video. I don't know what to tell you. Who? Mike Jones. You get familiar. So he's there with the Sikhs, and he's doing his best Sikh impression. He's got the turban sort of fitting. His ears are sticking out.
Oh, my goodness.
We got the do-rag guy next to him, and he's sending a message about the strength of the public school system in New York City.
The city of New York. We are the capital of diversity. 180 languages spoken in our school system. 180 different languages, people from all across the world. That makes us stronger, not weaker. And we
180 different languages spoken in our school. And that makes us stronger, not weaker.
I can't get past the hat on his head.
I can't either. What's he doing? Also, like 180 languages? Okay. I'm assuming you mean students, right? Now let's do the same thing, but tell me how many languages the teachers speak. And now make the argument why that's a strength. Because I guarantee you the teachers employed by their school system do not speak 180 different languages. I would be willing to bet a year's worth of this salary here that I make at Super Talk that the teachers in New York City do not speak 180 different languages. The students, absolutely. The teachers, no. And I feel like that's a recipe for disaster, not a symbol of strength. Just me? Is it just me? Maybe it's just me. During the commercial break, I'm going to find out where I can get one of those hats. It doesn't even match. I don't know, like he's pandering, but it's not the right hat.
Well, and everybody else, their ears are covered.
Yeah.
His ears are sticking out.
Him and then the other guy that's wearing it like a do-rag.
Yeah,
his ears are sticking. I don't know, but he's not providing good advice to Cuomo. I can tell you that much. I just said, sir, don't.
It looks like, the other guy looks like he found a blue pillowcase and just tied it around as a last minute.
It looks like a do-rag. It looks like a do-rag from a hip-hop video in 2011.
Looks like Rocket.
It does. It's a mess. We're going to check in with Chad Benson next. Thank you for joining us on the Lightning Round. We'll check in with Chad Benson next, see what's coming up on the Chad Benson Show today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Talk about Shane all the time. Great guy, and he can really help you save some money. If you're tired of sky-high health insurance costs, this is for you. Shane has a new option that could change the game for you. New plan on the market. Shane is one of the only guys I know with access to it that'll bring your deductible down to just $250. Not $5,000, not $8,000. Your deductible will only be $250. That's right. And the best part is you don't have to wait for open enrollment. This is a common misconception in health insurance. I got to wait till open enrollment, and that's not until November. No, you don't. Actually, Shane can help you switch today and start saving money right now. He's been doing this for over 20 years. He's going to shop 75 different companies to find you the best plan for your budget and your health needs. And it doesn't matter what's going on, whether you're self-employed, between jobs, just plain old overpaying. Shane could easily save you 30 to 60% on your monthly premiums. That's not chump change, so stop overpaying and call Shane today. 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023. Affordable quality coverage managed by you, not the government. CoverNash.com.
Well, a downtown parking garage in Nashville is the center of an investigation after a fire and explosions overnight. People staying at a nearby hotel looks like they're going to have an extended stay. We'll tell you about it at noon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 11:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. I'm Chris Hand. Find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Chad, are you on social media?
I am at Chad Benson Show on the old social medias across the board.
You do the whole thing across the board too?
I don't do. I think I signed up for Truth, but I don't think I ever went there because now that Trump gets retweeted all the time, and I'm like, this is just enough.
I know. I don't.
And
do
you know, the
Truth
other thing is too. It's too much. Sometimes it's just too much chaos. I don't need that much chaos in my life.
I love chaos.
I know you do.
I love a little bit of chaos.
So and
you had some chaos yesterday at the golf course.
Yeah, I don't. Apparently, God doesn't like golf on a Monday in the afternoon. Dude, it was chucking it down.
It was coming down.
I'm looking at Kirby, and I'm telling these guys, I'm like 50 yards from a pond, which is really good at lightning conducting. I'm here surrounded by electronics on the second story of a house. This is going to go well.
Perfect. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. You guys had a good time yesterday.
It was a lot of fun. It was absolutely.
What was the golf tournament for again?
So it was for our sister station, our sports station, and they raised money for some charity. But it was just a good time. We had clients. We had a bunch of fans come out. It was really cool. And Matt was there looking sharp.
Yeah.
But he didn't get through the whole day as well because the rains came and ruined everything. And I don't know how you pick a winner in the morning flight if people only got to play 8 holes. Some people play 10 holes. That's not fair. Although I think I won the long drive.
Did you?
Yeah, I smoked a couple.
Yeah? You're going to get a trophy?
I don't know. Probably not. But I there was a couple I just roped.
You rocked them.
And I played with Brent and the new Jesse James, who's our new morning guy on the country station.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, so we had a good time.
What do you got coming up on the show today? What stories are you paying attention to?
We'll probably talk a little bit about the riots. I've been in the riots in L.A., and this is more of a kerfuffle. It's ugly, but it's more of a kerfuffle.
Which riot were you in?
92.
92.
Yeah, I had to work in the riots.
You were working? What were you working? What were you doing?
My mother owns a big glass company. We had to go out and basically protect all the glass, put up all these things. It was crazy.
So you were Kyle Rittenhouse before it was cool.
So we had guns. My mom handed me guns. She says, "Be careful out there." I'm like, "Oh, this is nice."
Perfect. Is there one in the chamber, Mom? Thanks.
Have fun, kids.
Chad's in next. It's 12 o'clock on Super